Welcome to episode 49. It's the first time someone from the US is on the podcast. So, Kyndra Crump, who is a comedian from Atlanta who does her own podcast, the Kyndra Crump Show. How's it going? Great to have you on.
Yes, thank you so much. I was letting y'all's lovely host who has like 10,000 listeners, I was letting him know, thank you so much for not thinking I was spam or a bot and deleting my message, for giving me a chance. I appreciate it.
You probably get more views than me, so yeah, pleasure to have you on.
Of
Um,
course.
no worries. So the first topic is called hypotheticals. So Kendra, if you could travel to one country, what would that be and why?
So I'll do Amsterdam because pretty much everything is legal there. Let me say this about Amsterdam. I think the thing about, from the research I've done about Amsterdam, because I haven't done so much research about everything else. The research I've done about Amsterdam, it was either Amsterdam or China. And the reason I
Yeah.
say China is because China, you can go get Louis Vuitton bags and the designer stuff for a lot cheaper than they have over here in the US of A.
Facts.
That's what my goal was going to be, to go and travel to China to get it. But people say China is overcrowded, and I'm like, I don't like dealing with a lot of crowds because I'm liable to sucker punch somebody if they get too close to me. So Amsterdam is the answer.
Oh, that's amazing. Talk us through the Kyndra Crump Show and what inspired you to create such a funny, wonderful podcast.
So I actually started since elementary school. People have been telling me I was funny, and they say you need your own TV show. When I got to high school, more people say you need your own show. When I graduated high school, I just said, okay. It was like maybe a couple of years after graduation, I had an idea. I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and try to see about seeing some way where I can get my voice out there. So I jumped on the Snapchat train very late. And so here's the thing. I don't even get on Snapchat anymore. Like, if
Wow.
I get on Snapchat, it's if and only if, like, because I do interviews as well.
Yeah.
And so I'll just like post a little video of meeting the person, and stuff like that. But honey, Snapchat, listen, we divorced right now. Okay. Or actually we're separated. We're getting divorced soon. But yeah, I started with Snapchat, and I just said, hey, welcome to the Kyndra Crump Show. But at the time, my style of comedy was very vulgar, right? And here's the thing, sex is always going to be funny, right? But a real
Hmm.
comedian can make people laugh with or without using profanity, or with or without using any sexual conduct, whatever it might be. Like, you can
Yeah.
talk about race, you can talk about religion, you should be able to talk about the LGBT LMNO community. Shout out to y'all. I got a joke for you, Jerry. I got a joke for you. How
Yeah.
are you gay and can't dress? What the hell were you doing in the closet the entire time?
No idea.
Hilarious. Anyway, so with that being said, it's like you should be able to talk about those type of jokes, and still make people laugh. But the thing about it, people get canceled for whatever. So I started through Snapchat, and then I had my own individual podcast, which turns 2 years old sometime like at the end of July. I don't know when the actual day is. Yes, I gotta look it up. Sometime at the end of July, I did my 2 year anniversary, July 2019, and I started with my homeboy, good friend of mine, Lance. But the problem is that whenever you are doing a podcast or you're starting a project with somebody, you gotta like really be dedicated, too, because
Facts.
either one person's gonna be very dedicated and the other person's gonna slack off after a while. And listen, I wasn't paying Lance, so he showed up when he felt like it.
Oh, that's
So
good.
yeah, that's
One
pretty much
year.
how I got with it. That's pretty much how I got with it. How long have you had your podcast?
Yeah, 1 year anniversary for me as well this July. So similar to you, but you're a year older. So no, it's
Okay,
good
well,
stuff.
you're doing good. That's why I say you get a lot of listeners. So you're doing good. My listeners dropped because they're garbage. I used to have like 45 listeners. Now it's like 17. I'm like, y'all are booty, man.
No, that's good. And following on, what's some advice for like those podcasts just starting out? What would you um give them to start off with?
Number one, my advice is consistency is key. Okay,
Mm.
like I definitely want people to understand. My issue was I was so focused on doing a podcast with somebody. Now, mind you, I can carry a show by myself, but I was so focused on doing a podcast with somebody that there might have been weeks or even a month or two that I did not podcast because I didn't want to make myself seem lame, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, no one's going to listen to me. But all that type of stuff, a lot of times your thoughts are in your head. Just do it, like Nike. Okay. And so with that being said, I be consistent. Now I do a podcast once a week, and you are definitely invited on. Okay, it's gonna be grown folks, so if you okay with other grown folks there, just join. Just make sure your parents aren't listening. That's all I'll say about that. Anyway, back to the story. But no, I would say number one, consistency is key, and number two, promote it. Like, have business cards. You can do flyers. Let people know what you have going on.
100%. And you're also from the US, obviously, with your accent, and like I mentioned before, like you live in Atlanta, good place, especially MBA wise. So what's that like living there? Talk us through the climate and all that, the humidity.
So with Atlanta, if you want to be a rapper or Instagram model or I call it love and hip hop star, move here to Atlanta. Everybody's trying to make that dream happen and stuff like that, but overall it's not too bad. I want to leave because I'm like over it. I'm just honestly over it. Because if you've been in a place for so long, you get a little bored, right? And that's why I commend everybody to travel. It's very humid here, which goes great with my dreads. Now, if I had like regular straight hair, honey, my hair would look like poof. Like I got electrocuted, okay? Like, you can't survive. But it's typically we have lottery number type of temperatures. One day it'll be 85, next day it'll be 32, next day it'll be 65. So it's easy to probably catch a cold. But still, don't allow that to deter you from actually coming to see us. But it gets very humid here, especially spring, summer. We do have snow, but it's not often. If it snows, it's like snows for an inch or two, and then they shut the city down because we don't have snow tires. That's pretty much it. So, drive at your own risk.
That's good. And you spoke earlier about graduating at the Clark Atlanta University. So talk me through that and some lessons you learned about yourself at university.
And I'm re-enrolling myself as well back into school so I can eventually obtain my PhD in child psychology, so y'all can call me Dr. Crump. And yes, so I went to Clark Atlanta, which is a historically Black college and university, and it's expensive. So I'm like, I try to support these Black-owned businesses, and they're costing me a lot of money. But back to the story. So it was cool. It was cool. I thought, number one, it's a lot of gay guys there, which again, I don't have a problem with them. They could be some of my best friends or whatever, right? But the big problem that I have is it was more gay guys than straight men. So the straight men that try to I try to cling on to, they literally were already spoken for by like 25 different women. And I don't have time to uppercut nobody, okay? Once you reach a certain age, you should not be fighting no more. Like, it's okay, like Jerry, for you, it's okay to fight because you're still young, okay? Your frontal lobe has not developed. And on top of that, if you get into a fight, the charges aren't as serious. But when you become an adult, like, those charges are serious. And listen, you don't want to see my mugshot online. Kyndra, is that you? We just did a podcast 2 months ago. Yes, I don't want that to happen. But it was, like I said, it was pretty cool as far as like being there, getting the Black experience. But I guess for me, I did not enjoy it as much because I watched so much television and movies talking about, hey, this is what, a HBCU might be like. And again, some HBCUs might replica the same college experience as it does on TV and on different TVs and movies, but I didn't want to leave home, like leave out of the state. I said, let me just stay here. It's like 30 minutes away from where I live. It's not too bad or whatever. I lived in the dorms, and one thing I want to tell you all, let me ask you something. Do you have is it only mainly like middle school and high schoolers who listen to your podcast?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, let me let the high schoolers, middle schooler, your age group know something. when it comes to you can definitely find your best friend for life if you're living in the dorms, right? You can, but
Yeah.
don't bank on that. What I mean by don't bank on that is I had an issue with a couple of my roommates because the maturity level, right? You got to realize not everybody, when it comes with maturity level, a lot of people don't get that. They're not all the way there. It's a lot of unprofessionalism. You got to deal with people who don't want to clean up. Do you know how many
Facts.
times I had cleaned up the dorm, right? There was
Yeah.
trash. I left the trash back at the door. I literally cleaned up. Only thing that they had to do was take the trash out. Those people never took that trash out, doggone it.
Yeah. Those people.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm trying to edit myself because I was going to call him a female dog. But listen, those people did not take out the freaking trash. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this is what people fail to realize, like, bugs are easy to get, but hard to get rid of. And so you have to look into that just because, and then on top of that, a lot of these kids, they don't live at home with their parents. They have so much freedom. So you got to really, worry about, the college parties. I don't do college parties. I don't have time for that. I like to get my sleep. I'm the youngest, oldest person you will ever meet. I go to bed probably about between 10 and 12. That's my bedtime. It's always been like that. Kendra, you're young. You need to stay up. For what? I don't want to look like no raccoon the next day at work or the next day at school. Come on now. So yes, like I said, that's pretty much when it comes with experience or college experience or whatever else it may be. Um, my suggestion to your age
Yeah.
group, I want you all to understand, get your education, worry about a relationship later. Okay.
Facts. Yeah.
You have the rest of your life for relationships. Your education comes first. And if that person really likes you or loves you, because you be in that puppy love phase. I've been plenty of those. Okay, it lasted for a week. But listen, if that person really loves you or they care about you, they're gonna know like your education is first. Because and on top of that, once you graduate, then what? You got to think about that. Like y'all might go y'all separate ways. So that's the thing about that. And on top of that, you might be taking a lot of cat naps. Okay, you're gonna be hungry. Get a job. Okay, please save up your money unless your parents are rich, okay? And they're like, hey, we're gonna pay for everything, even including giving you an allowance. That doesn't
Oh,
happen
no
for
way.
everybody. So that just to answer your question, Jerry, that's pretty much it with that.
Oh, that's really good, Kendra. And how does like the sophomore, freshman, senior thing work? Because it seems more complicated than it actually is. Do you want to explain further?
So yes, definitely when it comes, I'll tell you this about freshman year. Freshman year, a lot of students don't make it because you got to realize this isn't middle school or high school where your teachers pass you along. They'll just probably give you the answers. You are responsible for yourself. Okay. You have got to do the work. You have got to turn your work in on time. Those 8 a.m. classes, you have to be there at 8 a.m. Do not walk in there, no 8:05, 8:10. There are going to be some professors who might even lock you out the door at 8:01. You need to, because they're teaching you this is the real world. On top of that, they still do group projects. That to me is the most pointless thing ever. You know what? On my podcast, I have a segment about banning stuff. B as in boy, A as in echo, N as in Nancy. I want to ban group projects. Why do we still need to have freaking group projects after high school is over? Okay, I know that I'm supposed to work with you. I don't really need no group project to know how to work with people because either somebody, like I said, there's going to be one person who's going to do most of the work, and there's going to be some people in the group. Yeah. And listen, again, my times where people are low, I mean, maybe I need to go to anger management. I don't know, but because I don't have time to deal with folks. Back to the story. Yeah. So, like I said, when it comes with freshmen, get to know your when you're meeting the people, get to know them, see what they're about, see how they are as a whole, as a person. Don't just try to be, I understand you want to make friends, but don't let people take advantage of you. People will take advantage of you. If you got a car and they know that if they know for a fact you have a car and they don't have a car, they're going to try to use you for that. You need to still make sure you have respect. Show that respect about yourself. But as far as, like I said, sophomore year, you're going to freshman year is just you trying to figure your life out and see what life is about. But I highly suggest still have a job so you can be able to provide for yourself. Have savings. Listen, I understand that people want to wear the newest Balenciaga shoes that are really unattractive. Okay, but listen, that's my opinion. But you need to save your money up. Okay, you will forever have the rest of your life to have those designer shoes or whatever new designer. Because every year there's some new type of designer something out there. But what you need to honestly do is have your money saved. Okay,
Mm.
savings is going to be your best friend. There's nothing wrong with the library. Okay, um yeah, I think that's really about it. But sophomore year, you're kind of get know about it, and also find like study groups. Listen, I'm not good at math, right? But you might find somebody who is good at the subject that you're going through. So yes, that's my answer. Hopefully I answered that correctly.
Yeah, you did it really well. I'm not good at maths as well, so I try and pick off a
Are
few
you
people.
what subject are you really good at? I liked English.
Oh, I like a bit of PE and media. That's where I want to go.
Okay, of course, P. You get to run and throw balls at each other. You know all that fun. And yeah, shoot balls, hoops, and basketball. I love it.
Yeah,
Of course.
no, that's good. Um, and let's go back to your podcast now. Obviously, you've had some interesting guests, like particularly Princeton Perez. I was interested because he like has a big fan base. So, what are
Mhm.
some of your favorite episodes and interviews you've had?
Man, and now let me tell you something. When it comes to interviewing celebrities and stuff like that, it that or people, it might take a while. Honey, I was on that Section 8 waiting list, okay, and I got approved. It took some months for me to get that and everything else, and I was very happy that we were able to get that and get that rolling and stuff like that. But let me say this: my favorite, probably, what was my favorite? Hopefully, none of those other entertainers are listening to this. But if they are, oh well, that's just my opinion.
Mm.
I really had liked the episode with Jay Holiday. He's an American singer who had a few hits that were pretty popular, but that was back in the day and stuff like that. He's doing other little projects. But me and him vibe pretty well. Princeton was pretty cool. I like me and Princeton have vibe very well. There were other questions I wanted to ask him, but I felt like, okay, I can't really ask him those questions. But I think maybe more
Yeah.
so Jay Holiday, because with Jay Holiday, with him, I didn't have to have pre-written questions down. We just was going with the flow. With Princeton, he wanted to have the pre-written questions down.
Mm.
So
Yeah. And also, we'll touch on like in recent times. Obviously, there's been lots of violence in the US, especially with like the Black Lives Matter movement. So, what are your thoughts on the racial injustice, and what are your opinions on the gun laws? Because the gun laws are, so much different to ours in Australia and should be banned, I reckon.
of course. Number one, let me, because I have ADHD, so I'm gonna touch base on the last thing that you said, which let's talk about gun laws. There
Yeah.
are a lot of people out there who have mental illness who somehow obtain a gun and they have a gun license. A mental test needs to be given to anybody out there trying to go get their gun
Mm-hmm.
license. Okay, number one. Number two, they need to have stricter gun laws, because anybody can obtain it. Jerry, if you want to go up the street to go get a gun, all you gotta do is have the right money. Because let me tell you something: money talks and BS walks. Okay, if you have the right money out there, you give them the right amount, they're gonna give you a gun.
Oh,
It's whatever you want in life is easy to obtain. You can have whatever, and this is the honest truth, whatever you want in life. Why do you think that there are certain entertainers out there in the world who aren't talented, but they're on the radio? Because they
mm,
have the right money and other stuff. But hey, the story for another day. As far as
yeah.
with the police brutality, let me say this: not all police are bad. Okay,
Mm,
you have
yeah.
some police out there who are really good police who are there to save the community. Just like not every black person is labeled as this. Not every white person is labeled as this. Whatever, Asians, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I feel that when it comes with black people, and this is the honest truth, as an African American, we're always going to be the last. We're always, far
Mm.
behind with everybody else. May I ask you, what is your ethnicity?
Oh, so I'm from East Timor, which is like a small country next to Indonesia, so one of the smaller countries out there.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll try to go to that country next. I've never heard of that before. But no,
Yeah.
it's like for us, it's so amazing how with the when it was here in Georgia, I believe, where they had the guy had shot up the Asian salon, the spa
Yeah, I saw
salon,
that.
and all of a sudden the Asian hate bill came out like shortly after that, but we don't have a black anti-hate bill. And we're
Mm.
probably not going to ever have a black anti-hate bill. And I'm okay. And you have to learn to just be at peace with it. Because being upset, you can, and again, even with the marches, we had the marches, we had people protesting, but then they still did what they wanted to do after the protests were over. We get upset about the police brutality, but you have black people who kill each other every day, but they don't get us upset about that enough to not want us to stop,
Yeah.
and to me, like, that is just deplorable on everybody's end, because you have to just honestly do better. We all have to do better as a whole, but here's the thing: a lot of this is a systematic racism within itself. A lot of the stuff starts from slavery.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And there are things out there that people need to stop doing that they don't want to stop doing. Like, for example, sagging your pants. That came from prison. But
Mm.
once we learned the history of where does sagging come from, and I'm not saying every black person sags, I'm just saying in general, with sagging, it to me, it's like it makes you look bad, especially if you are an African American and you're sagging your pants, and you literally have all of these, these looks. You're already stereotyped, and and you can't get upset. Why don't I have a job? You coming in there, the way that you're acting, and you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So with that being said, as far as police brutality, one thing I learned is you can be doing everything right and they can still kill you dead. It does not even matter.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
just
it's
literally
disgusting.
you literally, that's the harsh reality of it. I learned there's nothing that you could be doing wrong, whatever. People are still going to end up, that's what's going to happen, and again, you should not fear the police, because one thing I don't understand is they want to say F the police, but you're going to need the police when trouble happens, and one thing, and oh, there's no snitching, but if somebody had harmed your family member or loved one, you're going to want to know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my entire thing, and because I could go on and on about that, but that's my synopsis of what I feel about it. Hopefully I think I touched on everything.
Yeah, you have. And speaking about like slavery, for our year 11 book we're studying, it's called Kindred. Have you ever heard of that book?
I'm not. Tell me about it.
So it's by Octavia E. Butler, who was like a African American woman who wrote like science fiction and all that, and it's just about like pre-antebellum USA and how the slavery worked, and like this character is based in 1976, but she like time travels back to like pre-antebellum times and like
Hmm.
gets made a slave and all that. So yeah, it's definitely a tough book, but we learned a lot about American history and how um, yeah, the system was so like fucked back then.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? There's some movies I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch um 12 Years a Slave. The only slave movie I can say that I actually did not mind watching was Roots, because there's a happy ending.
Mm.
There's like certain parts of Roots that says, okay, cool. But it wasn't like the entire thing was just depression, and I'm not watching Django. There's a movie that came out in the 90s called Rosewood. It was bad. So I couldn't even get through that, like, because it makes me feel a certain way towards Caucasians, and I don't like to feel that way, because I have some like some real cool Caucasian compadres. And again,
Yeah.
one thing, like I said, not every white person is racist, and stuff like that. You learn, that's where maturing comes from, and a lot of people
Hmm.
are not mature in that sense.
Yeah, and just another thing, as an American, how do you feel that it's been almost 20 years since the 9/11 attacks?
Hmm. How do I feel about that? I guess, okay. As far as with
Mm.
9/11, because I was like 5 at that time. Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't remember anything really about it. I think I remember hearing a bell was ringing above, and on the announcement. So that was the only thing I remember hearing. Didn't know what was going on.
Mm.
It doesn't really. bother me is so much. I guess the only problem I have is like when I go catch a flight, you gotta take your shoes off one day and maybe not so much the other. And not only top of that, I was talking with one guy, did a podcast earlier this morning, and I was having a conversation with one guy who was telling me that there have been times where he's gone through TSA and he either had some weed on him and they didn't stop him, or he had like he was in the army and he had a knife on him and they didn't like check him thoroughly. And I'm bro, what in the world?
Customs, man.
I'm telling you, man, customs, they're not saying that they always don't do that, but I'm telling you, it's easy to probably sneak certain things off. It's so easy. You know, you can have a drug dog if you want to, but like I said, 9/11, it's just, to me, I guess it's one of those things where if I would have been a lot older, I could have understood what was going on. But because I was a child, I was still watching like Barney and Friends or whatever. I didn't know nothing about what was going on. I was like a child wishing I was an adult. And now I'm an adult wishing I was a child.
Oh, no, that's brilliant. Did it seem like a movie for like other family members as well? Because I remember my parents thought it was like a movie because like it didn't seem real, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it literally was like, what in the world is going on? It did seem like this is all and again, this is my opinion, and I'm not going to go too deeply into it because I don't want two men in black trying to come and say, you know, Kyndra Crump, roll with me. So I'm not going to do that on your podcast. I want you to keep your podcast. But no, let me say this. A lot of this stuff, the government set that stuff up. Come on now. Like, I'm pretty sure Bush has something to do with that. You know, like a lot of this, like conspiracy theories, a lot of this stuff is not no coincidence. They do this on purpose. You know, so yes, it did seem like a movie, but now that I'm older and my eyes are wide more to a lot of stuff, I'm not surprised by nothing.
Yeah. So the quote of a podcast is push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. Is there a quote or something you live by?
A quote, yes. My quote is, behind every no, there is a yes. And I like that because one thing I realized is this is to everybody out there, especially to the youth, because, you know, you guys are our future. Number one, you're going to have a lot of people out there who don't want to see you succeed. That includes your family. That includes your friends, in quotation marks. Okay, it's a lot of people who are going to be jealous of what you have. Jerry, you probably have classmates who are waiting, are like, you ain't gonna be successful on the podcast. You ain't gonna do nothing. You have people like that. You have a lot of haters, secret haters, right? And so what I want to let you know is not everybody's gonna want to see you succeed. Not everybody's going to want to help you out. There are gonna be people out there who are gonna try to charge you for the same information I'm giving to you for free.
100%.
Do not, let me tell you to everybody out there, do not pay for promotion. If you want to pay for it, it's on you, but do not think that if you pay for promotion that you're going to be, you know, rich and famous. Let me tell you something. You cannot buy your way into fame. You cannot sleep your way into fame. And this is to all the young men and young women out there, because there are going to be some, especially the young women, there are going to be some men out there, these predator type of guys, who are going to tell you, oh, you want to be famous? You want to do this? Well, let me see how bad you want the fame. They're going to do that to young men as well. But I'm telling you, do not compromise your morals and values and self-respect because you want to make it. Because slow progress is still progress. And let me tell you guys, even though I have over 10K following, which took about a year and some change to finally make the 10K.
Amazing.
And no, I did not buy followers. I realized that men are going to support women faster than women will support women. But even though I have over 10K following right now, one thing I realized is that it's going to be frustrating. There are going to be people out there who do not want me on their podcast. There are going to be people out there who are going to waste my time. And they're going to be, that's a given. When you go after your dreams, this is what's going to happen to you. And you have to be okay with that. So I'm telling you, I'm giving you guys advice that people are going to try to charge you to give. And I don't want you all doing that. So just rewind this track back years from now. A few years from now, when you are down, just say, okay, it's going to be tough. There are going to be days you don't want to do it. I'm telling you, there are going to be days you might have depression. I'm telling you, even though I'm a happy-go-lucky person, I still get depression. It doesn't last long, but it's
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So that's my advice.
Oh, that's brilliant advice, and I'll make sure to like do a mini clip or something because people need to listen
Yeah.
to that for sure. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you're a sports fan, but we love sports on the podcast. So, do you follow any sports? I know Trey Young's popping off for Atlanta in the NBA.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He can't listen. I got a better jump shot than him. But anyway, so yes, the Bucks just won, so congratulations to
Yeah,
them.
good on them,
I like the
Giannis.
Lakers, but I'm not a diehard Lakers fan. The Falcons, that's what I call them, not the Falcons. The Falcons, they are gonna, they lose every year, but hey, it's okay. I don't follow them no more. I like basketball more than any other sport out there.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
brilliant.
shout out to Trey Young. And Chris Paul, it would have been nice had he won, but it's okay. Next time.
Yeah, it's a shame. I would have loved for him to win, especially because it's his first finals and all that. But I guess Giannis
Yeah,
is better.
he's been playing since like 1980, man. The man's old, man. He needs to win something.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move on to a money segment now. So, are there any funny stories either from your schooling days, comedy that you remember fondly and you want to share?
Any funny stories? Comedy. Well, I mean, yeah, I remember my mother. Yeah, I have a really smart mouth, right? So I told my mama. She said to me, she's like, I think I was sniffling one day. I was sick, and she's like, Kyndra, are you still sick? And I looked at her and said, yes, sick of you. Then 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 she saw my books in my car one day, and she's like, Kyndra, did you go to school today? And I looked at her and said, Mom, did you mind your business today? Yes, guys, Mom is black and I'm still alive. Then one day I told my mother, I said, Mama, I want to have 12 kids, one child for every month of the year. I said this years back. She said to me, she's like, is that all? She's like, is that all you want to be in life is on your back? And I looked at her and said, are you mad because that's all you were in your life? So yeah, I mean, that's it. As far as the school, I mean, I've always made people laugh, but I can't particularly remember like when I actually had people laughing. Like what did I actually say? Because people have always laughed. Like, yo, you are hilarious. I made classrooms laugh, but I can't actually remember what exactly did I say to make the whole class laugh.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how does your comedy career work? Like, how does that all work? Do you want to explain more?
Yeah. So as far as my comedy career, I just what I do is I tell everybody, God gives us all the same 24 hours in a day. And what are you doing with your 24 hours? So what I do is once a week, three times out the week, I'll post a video. On Mondays, I post a video of me dancing or me being part of the
Brilliant.
Rhythmless Nation, or I post a little skit, a little rant. On Wednesdays, I post my own individual podcast and I upload this on YouTube. On Fridays, I post my PSA where I sit here and I just do a rant about things that men or women need to do better as a whole. So I post 3 times a week. You got to be consistent, but you don't have to post every day, at least 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's amazing. I need to take that on as well. Because it's just good, like you said earlier, consistency is key. Because if you keep putting it out there, you're gonna grow yourself to like other audiences and just become better in what you do. So keep up
Most
the great work.
definitely. Of
Yeah,
course. And listen, if you're in school, you still do your best, but remember, school comes first. That's always going to come first. Get your education.
yeah, 100%. Um, quick hands. So 5 quick questions. So Kendra, pineapple and pizza, yes or no?
Yes,
That's good. Same here. English or maths?
definitely
Yeah,
English.
definitely.
Isn't 1 + 1 3? I still don't know. Next.
Favorite subject?
It was, I like PE. That was
PE,
fun.
same. Yeah, brilliant. Just like throwing balls, playing basketball, just doing all the
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
dodgeball, kickball.
Dodgeball, yeah. Dodgeball, I used to get hit on the head all the time, which wasn't very fun.
Oh,
But
are,
yeah.
are you okay?
Oh yeah, the ball was pretty soft, but like when you try to duck and then you get it's
Oh,
a bit annoying.
okay. All right.
What's your favorite place to visit in Atlanta?
Any wing spot. I love wings, and I do my reviews on my
Oh
page,
really?
food reviews.
Oh, I work at KFC, so got
Okay.
good
Hey,
wins there.
you know the 12, the 12 herbs and spices.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I just do what I gotta do.
Of course, I understand.
Yeah. And are you a morning or night person?
Definitely not. Definitely.
Yeah. No, that's good. Um, are there any last comments you want to make before we kind of wrap things up?
Yes. I just want everybody to know that whatever your dream is, it doesn't matter what you want to be, go after it. People are going to discourage you, but go after your dreams. Keep God first, man. Quit worshiping celebrities that don't give a freak about you. Quit you guys can remember a celebrity's birthday, but you don't remember your own best friend's birthday. You
Yeah.
know, that to me shows, that speaks volumes right there. Um and just whatever you do, have fun, man. It's just, look, don't take social media seriously. And we know that ain't your car, it's your mama's car. Stop it. No, it ain't even your mama's car. She borrowed that from somebody. Stop it.
No, that's brilliant, Kendra. And what's next for you in 2021? What are your top three goals heading towards the end of this year?
So enrolling myself back into school, number one.
Yeah.
Trying to hit 20K before the year is over, number two. And somehow finding $5,000 randomly.
Interesting, interesting. I'm sure you'll accomplish those if you keep putting in the hard work like you do. And yeah, Kendra, thanks for reaching out and all the best for your podcast, your comedy career, and whatever's ahead. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me on. And I hope all the children out there in the world listen to me. And let me tell you something else, man.
Yeah, go for it.
Unless you're paying bills, respect your parents' house. When you turn 18, just because you 18 don't mean that you get what you want. You living underneath their roof now. They ain't living underneath yours. That's all I'll say about that.
Facts. That was amazing. Pleasure again, and all the best.